Alright, let's just jump into it, shall we? So, this was originally a submission for blue-white control, and after looking at the list and looking at the tools and thinking on it hard, I ended up actually switching this, as you can see here, to Jeskai control. Small red splash in the main deck for these, less of a small splash to cast Inspired Ultimatum at our top end, but the big things we gain from red are Justice Strikes and Redcap Melees. So I think with Winota being one of the better decks in this format, it's very important to be able to have 1 to 2 mana instant speed removal to interact with that card if you're playing a control deck. And I think having Justice Strikes and Redcap Melees are very, very good for that. I think I'm actually going to go ahead and split these to 3-3 actually while I'm talking about this, just because, again, I just want ways to kill Winota. This gives us 6 ways to kill her nicely at instant speed. Oh yeah, I've been turning sub mode off for the Rune Terror streams because they're a little bit smaller. Alright, let's go ahead and pop it into some matches here with this. Yeah, see how this one feels. We had shelved a deck close to this, determining that the Fires of Invention Nexus of Fate builds were just better, but obviously Fires of Invention's now banned, so it can't be just better any longer. So, again, gaining a little bit of information here. They're playing Amari the Collector, which I think makes this hand a mulligan. In the dark, I might consider keeping this, but against a deck that's likely a creature deck, this is an easy mulligan. And again, this is actually one of the things I loved about Companions before they nerfed them significantly, is you get to make some educated and informed mulligan decisions in games like these. This 5 is very reasonable. Yep, yeah, just getting started here this morning. Christy had a doctor's appointment first thing this morning, so getting started a little bit later than I normally do. Alright. Yeah, can we find a mono black deck? Go ahead and get some justice for Winota here. Imagine if that had been a Bonecrusher Giant. Although I suppose if it was a Bonecrusher Giant, we would have just killed an elf. So, hoping to find another piece of interaction or two so we can kind of stem the bleeding until we get to this. Ranger of Eos. That's a really interesting one. It's a human you can find. And a Dragon Master Outcast. Okay. I do need to find Thought Knots. Thanks for gifting a sub to Butt Shaper. I appreciate that. Welcome to Oglandia Butt. Really, really neat Winota variation here.
The focused and disciplined. I have just the trick for this.
I'm gonna go ahead and plus this here, actually.
Let's try this.
We are doing well, Lucas. Christy's a bit uncomfortable, but that's kind of to be expected at this point in the pregnancy.
I must train harder.
Yeah, Castle is great. And you'll see this deck that we're playing, I believe we're on 27 lands. Yeah, I'm on 27 lands with 2 castles and 4 cycle lands. I think that's right about where you want to be. So, hoping to draw a red source next turn so we can play Inspired Ultimatum. Shark Typhoon.
Might be a bad idea. to the good part.
So if I shock this in, I still can't... If I shock this in, I still can't activate Castle, but I can, however, make a 2/2 Shark, which I think is worthwhile. It'll let me trade with a Ranger inside of combat. Hey, Sound of Science. The sound of science. Do 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 do. Thanks for the 21 months, Lorwyn Soldier. Welcome back. Sweeper, untap red source, please. Yikes.
No, I am not making this up as I go.
We're gonna again just be cycling a Shark Typhoon here, it looks like. Yep. I'm not quite dead yet. Let's see how they attack. So I can do this and this. This Teferi dies. I take one. Probably line. Feels like they should be going face here. Yeah, probably. Probably.
You know what? I'm not done yet.
Don't look a gift horse in the mouth, chat. You're the only reason I make it through my workday. The singing is the icing on the Hooglandia cake. You love to hear it. Alright, so I think I'm playing this tapped, and then we get to untap two of these. I have to discard. Teferi's dead, right? Hey, that's a good one. So I can... Elspeth conquers death. Amari. I can Teferi bounce a Vanguard, and then I can seal away another Vanguard.
Right on schedule. Here we go.
Yep. I think I'd rather get seal away down this turn rather than search for Azcanta. Come seal away, come seal away, come seal away with me. Do 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 do, do 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 do, do 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 do.
Trust me. I have
Pretty
a plan.
sure I'm just tempoing their Vanguard again here.
Let's slow this down. I've got time.
Next turn, Conqueror's Death is going to pick 5 mana Teferi back up. Opponent concedes. Brady93, I've been subbed for nearly as long as Teferi's been standard legal. Coincidence? I think not. Thanks for the 12 months. Let's get your sword to go with that shield. Thanks for keeping me around. Now, one thing that might actually be wrong with my 75 is you will note here that I don't have additional ways to I don't have additional ways to deal with a Danto Vanguard in my sideboard, which might be an oversight. I just have these 2 seal-aways. Might be plenty. This is our first match of the day. Yep, started a little bit late today because Christy had a doctor's appointment this morning. There will be patch notes once we get the latest edition. Bringing a bunch of spot removal. I'm going to trim 1 Shark Typhoon. Shark Typhoon and 5 mana Teferi are our win conditions here. Castle, kind of a win condition too sometimes. So Christy had her doctor's appointment this morning. Both doctors happy with both her and the baby in terms of health. We've scheduled induction now for next Monday, assuming the baby doesn't come naturally before then. This hand obviously would like another white source, but I think it's super keepable with Justice Strike and Deafening Clarion here. I don't think you need to put a stop here on Legion War Boss anymore. I believe they patched that, but I've been hurt before, so I'm going to go ahead and do it anyways. Ban Winota, alright? I feel like I want a couple more ways to deal with the Danto Vanguard. So against Wilderness Reclamation, I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards I need to cut. I have 8, 9, 10 cards to bring in. I probably want to cut the Essence Scatter there too, though, so I don't think I can cut these. Is it crazy to not have Clarion in my board? And if I want more Adanto Vanguard answers, would I rather have Baffling End or would I rather have Seal Away? Yeah, if the interactive matchups are bad for Winota, that means Winota's good for the format. In my opinion. You sure you don't want to play a bot match that seems to be your preferred format, right? At least my muscle memory has mostly got down that it needs to click over at this point. I think it's important to get search down here, even though they could Legion War Boss us, because 1, I have Sweeper for Legion War Boss, and 2, I really want to try and hit my land drops here. Now we'll be able to hold up Essence Scatter this turn for a possible Winota, and then we'll be able to untap and Shatter the following turn. So we're scattering a Winota or an Adanto Vanguard here. Anything else we'll probably let resolve because we just shatter it away. Taking 6 down to 11. Seven Fet, thanks for the 17 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. The bot's win percentage has skyrocketed. I would believe that. Goodbye, friends. I'm gonna bin the 6th land at this point. So, with Conqueror's Death in play here, I think we're binning any Planeswalker we find on top. Would love another Sweeper. I guess we're doing this, and then planning to cycle this if they don't give us something worth scattering. We're running out of 5 here, so we've got, what, 3 looks at a Sweeper? It's a lot of lands in a row, chat. Alright, I need the Sweeper anyways, so I'm just gonna let this resolve. That's acceptable, right? Am I stomping Thalia, or am I stomping Fauna Shaman? Probably Fauna Shaman, right? Fauna Shaman finds Winota, and it's a non-creature in the event that, and it's a non-human in the event that they play a Winota. So now, their deck does have, a little bit of reach in the form of Bonecrusher Giant, so I can't let my health get too low here. Adonto Vanguard's very bad for us. Huh. Think I leave that there? Chewy, thank you for the half-year support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Bass27 Forte. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Thanks for keeping me around. I appreciate it. Just keep the board clear at this point. That card also means this flip's guaranteed. Obviously, we don't want another land, though. Teferi is lovely.
Sorry I'm late.
That's fantastic. Let's just go ahead and pass here. So we're looking for Ultimatum at this point, so we can gain a little bit of life to stabilize. Maybe I should just assume I'm going to Justice Strike this turn. And, maybe I should just assume I'm going to have to Justice Strike and, play the Narset out there.
That's more like it.
I know 88 ways to keep an open mind.
If they have Winota here, we're actually in trouble.
Put thoughtfulness before action.
Okay.
Don't worry, I got this. Keep up the pace.
We could still die to a Winota off the top here. Either to miss on one of these. Nope, that's not a miss. That's we have choices. Man, Jesus take the wheel, huh? Rough end to an otherwise close game. Maybe I'm supposed to take the Justice Strike there. I don't know. I don't think so. I think I need to answer the Adanto Vanguard permanently. Like, we know they have the Vanguard. We don't know we know they have a Vanguard. They haven't had Winota. And, like, if I just get one more turn there, I'm likely to find an answer to Winota off the top. That could go either way on that. I'm gonna kill this on one since I have Teferi on 3. I don't know, I could go either way there. I'm not convinced what we did was correct. If they have Legion War Boss here, Teferi feels sad, but outside of that, it's great. Hoping to run some lands off here. Phoenix of Ash, that's a good one. It's another reason to have Baffling End and Seal Away in our 75. Hey, Jim. Thanks for the raid. Hope you had a good stream. I think I'm just using my mana here. Our way up here. Probably just shattering next turn. Yep. And then hoping to draw an untapped land, so that way we can Jeskai Ultimatum next turn. We have all of our colors, so any untapped land will do. Dude Light, thanks for the tip. That's for a couple of Runeterra decks, right? Perfect. I'll get those added after I'm done today. Even if they have a Winota here, we shouldn't be dead. Even if they hit, what's it called? We can shatter next turn. Plus play a tapped land. Sure. Jeskai Ultimatum really flexing a bit and helping pull us through here. Actually, maybe I'm supposed to play Search for Azcanta there. Yeah, I think I'm supposed to play Search for Azcanta there. Let's Justice Strike this, and then we can untap and Baffling End this. And I can, in fact, we can go Shark Typhoon into Baffling End this. Sweet belly. Yeah, pretty sure I punted that first game, so hopefully we don't just get run over game 3 on the draw here. Is this good enough? It's close. This might be, if they have an elf on one, this hand is not good enough. No elf on one, this hand might be good enough. Teferi on 3 bouncing something often buys enough tempo for Shatter to help. Although that's very good. Okay, so like this would make the hand an easy keep, so hopefully we find some action here. You're not sure we're likely to get our 6. I don't think that's true. I think our 6s tend to be pretty okay on average. Doomblade, please. Doomblade, please. Yep.
I can no longer stand by and watch. I've got it. It's only a matter of time.
So we're at 7. I don't want this to be taken as an indication that I support playing Teferi. So 12 months, Hex. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Yeah, I don't... Maybe I could have mulliganed this hand. I don't know. The Danto Vanguard still gives us trouble with a lot of our keeps. I definitely messed up the first game on that set, so it's actually been a good set of games so far. If I'm being completely honest, I've struggled recently with having fun playing Magic, and this deck's definitely been a bit of a refreshing so far in the matches that we've played. A lot of the games of Magic have felt really low player agency lately, and this Jeskai deck is the opposite of that. You get to make a lot of choices basically every game. I'm gonna keep this and bottom Narset. Obviously, I would like another blue source at some point. But this is actually the only double blue card in our deck, so like, Sand's drawing exactly the second Narset. We can cast any spells we draw with this keep. Lipsy, thanks for 26 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. It's the third Winota deck in a row. I guess they could be something else. It could also be a third Winota deck. Sounds good, Boston. Yeah, the deck queue's kind of slim. In fact, actually, General, I'll post something on Discord about this later, but if you have a historic deck submission you'd like to make, you are welcome to submit historic decks to the queue, because I am out of historic decks in the queue after today. With the asterisk that if Baby comes before Christie's scheduled to be induced next Monday, obviously there's going to be at least a week delay. So we're through the queue at this point, though, so if you have submissions you'd like to make, you're welcome to do that. just let this happen and then plan to seal her away next turn? Or we just do that? Hey, Remigan, thanks for the 12 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. That's a good thing, Lyrics. Hopefully we see more of that in this country. Just like the United States has an unhealthy obsession with pouring money into the military, I hope we start to see some real reform surrounding how the police are used in this country. Well, obviously you probably need some type of policing for society. The United States uses the police for a lot of things that police should not be used for. There's a lot of things we send police officers to do in the United States that we should be sending social workers to do, or people to assist with, you know, people who are addicted to drugs, send them to rehab facilities, things like that. One of the things, yes, police power needs to be decentralized. They do too much and have too much funding, and we spend not nearly enough on funding for other things. Yeah, I agree. I think how we think of police as a society in the United States needs to be fundamentally rethought and changed. And that in and of itself is basically what the protests are about in the country. You know what? I should have waited to play my land, because if I draw a tap land here or a shock land, I would have rather played that. Yeah, totally should have. I guess I'm cycling this now. Yeah, I'm gonna cycle this and really use second blue. The Minneapolis vision of abolishing the police is achievable. Yeah. I think restructuring the way we think about police in our society is both achievable and good. Oh, Azcanta is also going to be another blue source eventually, right?
Trust me.
Yeah, that's true too. Defund doesn't mean abolish. And like that's what people are taking it to mean. As they mean we don't have any police at all. What defund the police, what that movement is talking about is fundamentally restructuring it from the ground up, so we're not using the police to address things that police should not be addressing nor should ever have been addressing. Stop using the police to answer things they shouldn't be answering. I'm gonna plus this, and then play Hero of Dominaria and plus him.
Oh, I've done the hero thing before.
The police have become badly trained social workers. Yeah.
Right on schedule. No time for a break.
I would argue that my Jeskai control deck versus Naya Winota in Historic currently is a battle of anti-heroes. There is no hero in the story you are currently watching, chat. Sorry to disappoint. There is no hero.
That didn't pan out. Don't worry, I got this.
Shark Typhoon, probably a hero. Shark Typhoon is lovely. Teferi, now with 100% more sharks.
Sorry I'm late. Hold that thought.
It's kind of the worst of both worlds. Police are badly trained social workers and badly trained soldiers, and the latter problem amplifies the former. That's a really good way to phrase it. Is a really, really good way to phrase it. Big agree.
Not so fast.
In that case, who handles it? I'm gonna tell you the same thing I tell people that ask me questions like that all the time. Don't ask the random shithead, in this case, I'm the shithead, streaming on Twitch, who doesn't have any experience as a social worker or things like that, what we should be doing as a society. My opinion on topics like this is not one you should value. You should be deferring to experts, and you should be deferring to how things get done in other countries where they don't have constant issues with police violence like we have here in the United States, and learn what they do. Rolano, thanks for the 5 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Random influencers and people on Twitch aren't people you should be asking for how do we properly reform society. That includes myself. Yeah, other issues like that would be my point. That would be the point I would bring up, is issues like that too. Is this is a systemic issue that also stems from the fact that the United States has guns being too accessible. So like the situation you're bringing up should be less of a situation because we should have stricter gun control laws in this country. How much stock do you put into the fact that everybody has guns and the police are scared? That's some world-class FUD. I'd encourage you to spend, if you haven't watched some more news with Cody, I would encourage you to go watch Cody's Some More News. He has a montage in there from about 47 minutes, if I recall, to 51 minutes that is literally just a montage of the police attacking protesters, and none of those protesters have guns. So this idea that the police are scared for their lives is some world-class FUD. The police are constantly murdering people in cold blood who are completely unarmed. And you know what? If you're someone who's afraid that if you're someone that's afraid that all these people have weapons and you think you need to kill them because you're afraid for your life, maybe police work isn't for you and you should go into a different line of work. There was a mocking photo that really resonated for me in a good way, that it showed a big strong police officer crying. And he said, "We didn't choose to be born cops, hashtag Blue Lives Matter." And it's like, just the absurdity of that picture really highlights how stupid people saying Blue Lives Matter to try and belittle the Black Lives Matter movement are. Because at the very core of their being, they don't understand what racist people they are. They just don't understand at all. And honestly, I don't even know if you can help people like that understand. Yeah, that's part of it too. They don't want to understand. I also think having grown up around a lot of mediocre middle-class white people, I think a lot of them think if they acknowledge that other people have it worse than them, it invalidates any struggle that they've personally had in their lives. There's a lot of people who think that because they've had privilege, it means that they've never experienced hardship and they've never had to work for anything. And that's not what privilege means. It's just like, it's a fundamental misunderstanding of what that term refers to. People don't just want to be the hero of their own story, they hate not being the underdog too. Yep. Junior my sub because I enjoy the channel. I had a best friend who was a cop recently cut me out of my life because I support the Black Lives Matter movement, and I say good riddance. Tofu Cow, thanks for the 19 months. You know what? It's really weird, chat. This is, I'm sure this is a strange coincidence, but in the process of cutting basically every Trump supporter out of my life between 2016 and now, I've not lost any friends or people I'm still in contact with over supporting things like the Black Lives Matter movement. Because when I cut all of the people that support Trump out of my life, I cut all of those types of people out already, I would wager. We're just drawing here. Really need a shatter. Ugh. Whenever I watch your stream, my partner always asks if I watch this for magic or politics, and I tell them I come for the magic and stay for the politics. Thanks, Juko. I honestly don't know what I would have done with regards to family if I didn't have kids, but having kids changes your worldview, and I know that as corny as that sounds, it's true, and like, I know the things that I said and repeated and believed growing up, and I know for a fact that the crappy things that I said and did and believed were 100% the result of the fact that I grew up in the company of racists and hateful people. And if I just agreed to disagree with those family members who are bigots and hateful, and I allowed them to be around my children, in my opinion, I would be a bad parent for letting those people influence my children the way they influenced me growing up. I don't want my kids to go through the realization that people that they're supposed to respect and trust and believe in are awful human beings and aren't kind people. And I also understand that I also have an amount of privilege that lets me cut those people out of my life, right? Like, there's people who have parents that are god-awful who can't cut those parents out of their lives because they depend on those parents to survive, right? And I understand that, and I'm definitely empathetic to that situation. But like, you know, for people that I haven't talked about before, like people that haven't heard me talk about my background before, I moved out of my parents' house when I was 17. I've been working 40 to 60 hours a week since I was 16 years old. Like, I've been largely independent for almost half my life now, and I'm able to do that.
Trust me, you'll thank me later. This might be a bad idea.
Ooh, that's a good one. Justice Strike is good here too, in case they peel a Winota. In fact, something I don't think I've mentioned this on stream before, but I think it's worth sharing. The reason why my workspace didn't get finished, I'm still in the room that I was originally in, is because the family member who was supposed to help me finish my new workspace, when they came to my home and they were supposed to help me finish it, the things that they were saying and discussing and bringing up around my kids, I kicked them out of my house. I told them that the things that they were saying were not okay and they weren't welcome in my home. And then I was dealing with contractors, and then COVID happened and the room's still not finished. But at the end of the day, my office getting finished really isn't important. Well, I didn't plus Teferi here. We drew this off of his minus. So I lose my planeswalkers here, unfortunately. We're actually going to be... I was about to say we're going to be at parity, but that's actually not the case anymore. Yeah, I effectively timed them out and blocked them in real life. I told them.
This isn't a fight.
All right. Well, we played against Winota 3 times. We are 5-2 in games against it, with one of the game losses being a punt. Deck seems to have a good Winota matchup as built, which I built it with Winota in mind, so that's good to know. We're all Winota matches so far this morning. See if we can get a little variety here. Of course, Hexaplegic Squid, we aim to please. Hey, look, not Winota. Ian's great, though. They're a Luris deck. Hopefully our interaction will be good here. What are my thoughts on Winota? I actually think the Winota deck is an incredibly good deck to have be the best deck in Historic. I think decks that reward people for being interactive and punish them for not being interactive are everything I want Magic formats to be. Yeah, and honestly, that's one of the toughest pills to swallow growing up, I think, is like realizing that people who taught you things didn't actually believe the words that they were saying. Probably Grixis Breach, looks like it. One of the many decks you can find up on my website. Obviously might not be card for card what's up on my site, but looks like that same archetype at a minimum. There's an argument that Winota could be too good in best of one. Lukewarm take, I don't really care about best of one. I'm actually going to jump block with this 1/1 because I'm going to shatter next turn. Get the snake out of play. About to enter a tournament that's going to be Winota heavy. Any suggestions? I mean, this deck seems great. Play removal. I think you want 6 to 8 removal spells that kill Winota at instant speed in your 75. I think that's a sweetish spot. Yeah, they're likely the Underworld Breach combo deck. I think I'm just gonna shatter again here. Mafia, thanks to 11 months. Agree to disagree is one of those arguments people use way too often. At best, it stifles debates, and that can be fine. But when dealing with moral issues, agree to disagree doesn't kind of... Yeah, and like, you know, a quote that I've seen rightfully thrown around a lot recently is, you know, being silent makes you complicit. And I completely agree with that sentiment and statement. Like, when you agree to disagree with racists because you're related to them, you're saying that my relationship to you is more important than the harm you're doing to society. Yeah, agree to disagree is fine for coffee types and ice cream flavors. Human rights is not an area where it's acceptable. Big agree. Hey, Mr. One, thanks for the 12 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. This Croxa... I did not, Tumos. That popped up after I signed on this morning. So that might be part of my raid spending then. Hey, thanks for the tip. Thanks for the advice, Pentreon. Or thanks for the advice from Pentreon. This is probably gonna copy Croxa next turn, I imagine. That's fine. We'll Justice Strike it when it happens. And like I said earlier, if I didn't have children, I don't even know anymore. I think at one point, if I didn't have kids, I might have been able to agree to disagree and just ignore them. But with kids, I definitely can't. And it feels like doing that would be doing a disservice to my children. I wanted to strike on my turn to stop the transform. No, strike doesn't kill it until it transforms. Oh, you're saying I should have struck at my end of turn? That doesn't matter, right? Oh, they could have transformed again to save the Lazev. Oh, you're super right. Yeah, I forgot about that. They also forgot about it though, so you know, deal. Runeterra expeditions are phantom. You do not keep the cards. Croxa is really good against us. In fact, we were talking about do we want Seal Away or Baffling End in our sideboard. Croxa is a reason to have Baffling End, huh?
Here we go.
Let's go dig in here. Shark Typhoon. Yeah, honestly, Turnpike Bear, I think that's a pretty apt comparison. Winota, comparing Winota to Embercleave. They're both combo finishers. Keep our Teferi alive. This is smart on their part, waiting to play this out until they can play something from the bin. Wonder if they intended to do that because of the way they tapped, but yeah, they could have shocked in to play this. Think this is smart. They should wait to do this until
I've got it.
So they can play this and escape it again. That's going to cost me some cards out of my hand, though. I think I'm just Teferi plussing here.
You show I'll show. Let's try this.
Teferi plus this Azcanta might let us slog through the card advantage from this Croxa. I played a little bit of the Sujani deck off stream. It was sweet. That's an Underworld Breach. I guess they don't have that many cards in their graveyard, though. Like, they've escaped Croxa twice, so there's only 6 cards in here. So, like, sure, you have an Underworld Breach. What are you going to do with it? Alright, you have a Mox Opal. Yeah, maybe they thought they were, like, baiting a counterspell with it. But, like, 1, I don't have a counterspell. And 2, even if I did, it doesn't really accomplish anything. Ooh, they have Mox Amber in hand. Okay, that changes things. They have 2 cards in their bin. I think I'm okay with that still. They have 3 mana total because they don't have a legendary for this at the moment. Okay, so with Croxa here, I think I'm going to go ahead and kill Diligent Excavator in response. Just take 3 from this trigger. So that way my opponent doesn't have this in play anymore. And then I assume they're going to float a mana with the Mox in response to this trigger here, which means they can recast this, but they don't have legendaries for this to make more mana with at that point, and their graveyard's kind of empty. They will have Lurrus in their hand, though, which is a big deal. The Breach deck is very good against control, and this is, like, I'm glad we're playing another matchup here, because, like, there's a real chance that the way I've skewed this deck towards beating Winota means matchups like this are very hard. I don't think I have any graveyard hate in my sideboard. You know, maybe I just want a couple of Grafdigger's Cages in my 75. Could see that. Tormod's Crypt. Oh, it's not legal in this format. Cage is nice because it's good against. It stops Winota from triggering.
I am not making this up as I go.
Lukewarm take. Tormod's Crypt's not very good. Lukewarm take. Tormod's Crypt probably worse than other options. If we find a way to if we find a Shatter here, we're in a great spot. Sick. Goodbye, friends. So we need to fade Breach off the top here. That's good. Lets them take our Teferi here. When Shatter draws you a card, not the opponent, it's just unfair. Ain't that the truth? I think I'm bidding Bonecrusher Giant here. The hope here is that this Kroxa exiles enough stuff from their bin that when they eventually find a Breach, it doesn't do anything particularly useful.
I've got it.
Well, I mean, at least I'm not drawing those cards now. What are we looking for at this point? Jeskai Ultimatum? Or another Teferi? I need an answer to this Kroxa here. No, I don't think those cards are playable, Deerlick. That's so unfortunate. That's so unfortunate. I mean, Nexus of Fate looks really good in situations like this one we're currently in. However, putting Nexus of Fate in your deck isn't free, and you're going to have to draw this 7-mana spell that's only good when you're already ahead. Generally speaking, when you have Planeswalkers in play in this deck and they're activating, you should be winning anyways, which tends to make Nexus a win more card. A card that's only good when you're already winning. They left a card on top. Scary. It is unfortunate Seal Away couldn't get actual Kroxa. You're not wrong. So we got a bunch of looks at another Shatter here. They're down to 7 cards in their bin. Perfect. Decline.
like it.
Those who cannot perceive beyond hone your prowess.
Okay. That's actually not very good. Are we dead? We're dead, right? Not quite, but close. So you get to play Kroxa, make me discard. Then they copy Kroxa. This game's really highlighted how good the fair game plan of the Grixis Breach deck is against control. So, I actually wasn't dead to copy Kroxa attack because I could draw a spell with this. However, I am dead to second Kroxa off the top trigger, then copy attack. So we were going to go to 1 there. Yeah, our lack of graveyard hate in our 75 could easily mean that we're gonna have a real bad time here. Couple of intervention to gain. Actually, 1 intervention's probably fine. I'm gonna trim the Narsets. The rest of this seems okay. Actually, Justice Strike seems real bad, right? I guess it kills Kroxa. It definitely shows that, like, our deck is built. Very possible, and I have a little bit too much for Winota and not enough for these other things. My couple of cages could go a long way, because it's a card that's, like, good against Winota and also good in matchups like this. You're adding Ashiok? I don't know about Ashiok. There are a number of play patterns in the current Magic formats that are not great. They're reprinting Solemn Silicrum. That's actually great. That's a card that's very reasonable against Teferi. That card will be great in Historic, right? Like, if there's an Ugin deck in this format, it definitely wants that card. Yeah, it's a baby Golos in a way. I guess we're keeping that. Oh, there isn't a zombie list in the queue. The zombie list is the one from my website. I think doing full preview reviews is largely a waste of time. I think it produces content that doesn't have much longevity. I think especially with my focus being largely on constructed, going through a bunch of cards, just being like, yep, this is a limited card. Yep, this is a limited card. Yep, this is a limited card, isn't very useful. Yeah, I've done reviews in the past where, like, usually if I do some kind of write-up on spoilers, I'll do a write-up for CoolStuffInc.com. Highlighting my favorites. If you want to see some of my spoiler write-ups in the past, you can check out some of my stuff there. In fact, looking at my stuff there, you can take a peek and see that my track record evaluating cards tends to be very good. To self-filate for a moment. They are printing some historically high-priced cards for $4 pack, don't you think? All right, I'm gonna let you in on a really dirty secret, Weber. All booster packs cost Wizards the same amount of money to print, so long as they all have 15 cards in it. I'll tell you the dirty little secret. Do 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 do. The reason why Magic cards are kept expensive is because it is profitable for Wizards to keep them expensive. The reason why formats like Modern and Pioneer and Legacy have expensive costs to enter is because Wizards knows by keeping those formats expensive, it incentivizes a certain amount of players to play Standard, even if Standard is absolute pit stains, rather than playing the more interesting format they would actually enjoy playing. Land. Rats.
You know what? I'm not done yet.
Swish. Swish. This card's real good, chat. This card's real good. Shark Typhoon's been kinda take or leave so far today. Inspired Ultimatum's continued to be impressive. The pack should technically cost less if they reuse artwork, right? Yeah, I would assume so. Serial number, thanks for the 2/3 of a year. They also don't have to go through the R&D of designing a whole bunch of new cards. They just have to balance a limited format, and you could argue they don't even have to do that, technically. In fact, one of the many things that I've really enjoyed about Legends of Runeterra, there's a lot of things to enjoy about it, is that when I have a good idea related to Legends of Runeterra, there's never an idiot that pops up and goes, But Jeff, you can't do that good idea, Jeff. Think of the MTG finance, Jeff. That idea is bad for the people that play the game as a stock market, Jeff. Fuck MTG Finance and everybody that makes a profit while making the game more expensive for real people. Thanks for the 5 months, Wyatt. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Really cannot put into words how much I despise the finance aspect of Magic the Gathering and how that part of it seeps into Magic Arena as well. Like, you can't make a good decision. You have unmoored egoed my Shark Typhoons, yep. They probably shouldn't attack with this, because then if I draw Seal away, I can get rid of it. Wizards of the Coast could make all of the cards as cheap as they wanted to make them, Sandcry. It's all pixie dust and made up BS, even more so than normal finance stuff is. And that's impressive because even normal finance is pretty heavily pixie dust. And I kill this now so they can't copy something else in response. So lets me hold up Scatter for anything else they might want to play out. That was probably one of the best draws in our deck. Maybe 5-mana Teferi was one of the only cards better than Search for Azcanta here. New $1 million idea, a cryptocurrency index to card prices somehow. I like how we're talking about stupid finance things and someone brings up cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is like MTG finance for people who aren't MTG finance nerds. Want to talk about pixie dust? Let me tell you about some pixie dust, chat. I'm gonna bin that. Looking for just some action. Pretty likely to draw more actual lands. Want to try and flip this Search for Azcanta ASAP. Now, next turn, we won't do anything because they're about to escape a Crocs and make us discard the card from our hand here. That's super unfortunate. I don't know. At the end of the day, I mostly just don't engage with MTG finance stuff anymore. It's much happier to just ignore it. Arena largely allows me to ignore MTG finance. It's just especially frustrating whenever you try and put forward a good idea that you feel would be good for Magic as a whole, and the only thing complainers can complain about is, well, that wouldn't be good for the MTG finance, Jeff. Won't somebody please think of the finance? I'm going to wait till their draw step to get rid of this Kroxa, so that way they can't float mana with this and use it inside of their main phase. This also means they have to wait a turn to play it back out again, which is ideal. We have 6 cards in the bin, so if I bin whatever's on top next turn, I'll get to flip Search for Azcanta here. Did WotC give me a card reveal? Yes! Wizards of the Coast gave me a preview card, because we have a long, colorful, wonderful history of working well together. Wizards of the Coast loves me and the feedback I provide. It's one of the few cards I,
Let's hold that thought.
It's not terrible. I suppose if this is a land, they can play and escape Kroxa this turn. Actually, if this is a land, I'm dead, right? Because they play Kroxa, escape Kroxa, crack me for 6. Could be dead here. The fact that they were able to discard the Inspired Ultimatum on the turn before we got to it's pretty rough. Hopefully they're just returning Lurrus to their, or putting Lurrus into their hand here with this. Is this a red source? Did do a red source. Not a close set. This Jeskai deck generated some genuinely good games of Magic. Yes! Please attack my plane. I think my opponents played this game pretty well so far. This attack was really bad. Man. I think I have to keep that, but it feels bad. I really want to flip this Azcanta. That's interesting. And by interesting, I mean really good against us. You love to see it, chat. You love to see it.
We need to move quickly.
Huh. Okay, well now I Baffling End this and just gain a bunch of life, right? I think this card's underplayed in this format. It's really good. So you get to gain double X, right? So I'm going to gain 12. Azcanta's gonna finally flip next turn. This will be 7. Refreshing. Refreshing. Whew! Lordy, lordy. Lordy, lordy. You love to see it, chat. You love to see it. There was no reason to stomp their face there proactively. That was unnecessary. Time to play America's Game Show is this good, right? I don't think their graveyard is scary enough for Underworld Breach to matter. Dan may chat. You can chat now. Thanks for the 3rd of the year. Welcome back. Leecher X, thanks for the 1/4 of the year. I appreciate that. I don't think flexing on them is ever unnecessary. I love that Bonecrusher Giant's just like a win con that like also kills something. Really a nice upside to being in Jeskai as well. Are we gonna throw this one up on the website? We've played this one before and it feels pretty reasonable now. This one feels like it's fan favorite worthy at the very least, right? No time for a break. Don't mind me. I'll just bounce your thing and counter on the way back down. Do do do. Do do do. Negative. Thanks for the 200 months. I appreciate that. PVD, thanks for the 3/4 of a year. I'm glad we had a good set today. Yes, Magic was really rough yesterday. It's good. It's good to be playing a deck that's fun. It's good to be playing a deck that's fun, chat. Yeah, all 3 of our Magic decks today look good. Really good 3-game set. All 3 games, even the one we lost. A lot of back and forth and decisions to make. A Striker 625. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Thanks for the continued Prime support. Welcome back. Been playing this one for almost 90 minutes, but it's been a good set, so try one. I'm gonna push my luck, chat, and see if we can get another good match in before we move on to Naya Feather. Yeah, super reasonable. Essence Scatter's been super serviceable. Been happy with this 2 of. What are my impressions of the format so far? Well, I mean, the bans didn't really impact Historic much. Neither of the cards they banned in Historic really saw much play in Historic. They were mostly like standard knee-jerk. We did this in Standard, we're gonna do it here as well bans. Huh. I think with that draw, we're just like Teferi plus now.
I know my responsibility. No, I am not making this up as I go.
Nissa's not even really that bad here because we have Shatter the Sky. I, Shatter in the sky. Do 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 do. Nothing to see here. Just incredibly unlucky. Shocked in the land by mistake. Twas a misclick. We have 2 shots to draw an untapped land next turn to play Conqueror's Death to kill Nissa. Coffee, beer, H2O. Thank you for the 5 months. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. This is a good line. They get to draw a card now with the Karn's Bastion. They have 6 mana left over. Big fan of the plus on nothing there. Land, please. Untapped land. Sick. Goodbye, friend.
The land will not forsake you.
Second sweeper here. Also absurd. Are we done here? Feels like we're done here. I'm the bad man. Do 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 do. Been feeling pretty down about the state of the country. Any words of positivity that can help drug us through this absurdity? There's it ain't over till it's over. I know the thing that helped me, that really helped pick up my mindset and approach to things after the primary especially, was find a Senate race to care about. Find a random congressional seat that a progressive's fighting for to care about where it looks like they're doing well. No. There's a lot more than just, you know, Status quo Joe being elected to the presidency. There's lots of different levels of government where change can take effect from. Is it crazy to board out Essence Scatter here? Like, their big plays are, like, probably Nissa and other Planeswalkers, right? What do I want to trim? I need 2 cuts here. Could be Scatters. I think it's just Scatter. Yeah, they almost assuredly have Ulamog, but, like, you know, Scatter's only okay there. I'm bringing in some Disdainful Strokes here, and I have Elspeth Conquers Death that can exile Ulamog. What are your thoughts on playing a Settle the Wreckage and 3x Shatter in Historic? I think if you want to play a cheeky Settle, that's fine. I think if you're not playing 4 Shatter, you should consider getting some help. I think not playing 4 Shatter is some hot nonsense, especially considering the fact that, like, a lot of the Winota decks are playing Girl Spellbreaker, so, like, how do I feel about Clarion? I mean, obviously I don't feel very good about it because I'm not playing any copies of it. I think the prevalence of Winota as the best creature deck in the format makes Clarion and Sweepers in general worse. So I'd rather have more spot removal and less Sweepers. I think 4 Shatters in the 75 is plenty for Sweepers, and past that, I want Justice Strikes and Redcap Melees and Bonecrusher Giants, etc. Sweepers are, generally speaking, not great in the Winota matchup. Are you talking about Standard Dumping Truck? If so, I don't really have much experience with Standard. Not really playing that format.
How you've grown.
I won't let you win.
And if you're talking about Historic, I'm not really familiar with a red-black sack deck in Historic. There's an argument to tempo the bird last turn so they don't get mana off it. Okay, what's the argument, Full Metal? Don't make me tell you you're wrong. Tell me why you're right. Why should I tempo the bird? Why is it the correct play? This set's been really good, Dimir Spy. Easy deck of the day.
Stomping time.
Gosh, it's refreshing to just be able to say that. How was this set? Not a dumpster fire. Yes! Yes!
This isn't a fight you can win.
Really need a Conqueror's Death here. I guess that eventually does something. Could have bounced a food. I could have bounced a food and then they would have paid 2, gained 3 life, and I wouldn't have drawn a card. Wow, that's really good for us. That means after I shatter here, I get to kill this with Inspired Ultimatum. They give us something to stroke this turn. We get to curve out perfectly. Yeah, Teferi can only eat your lunch when you're not watching. Is Teferi running rampant, or is it limited, trying to gauge expectations? There are a lot of good aggressive decks in this format. I don't think 3-mana Teferi is in any deck I would consider to be one of the best decks in Historic. I think Teferi is playable, as this deck is showing, but I do not think any of the decks I consider to be the best decks in this format play Teferi.
I will not go extinct. Close your eyes, breathe, and listen to the sounds of the wild. I'd get out of the way if I were you.
Jeskai, Inspired Ultimatum is really good. We had originally put this build together as a build around submission, and I wasn't really expecting it to be very good, and Inspired Ultimatum just continued to be super, super impressive. In fact, I cut down to 2 copies of it for this set. I think that might be wrong. What I consider to be tier 1 outside of Winona, Gruul. I think Grixis aggro is very good. We don't have a lot of data on this format because there aren't a ton of large consistent events. If you go to my website and click historic decks, I've got all the decks up there sorted by approximate power level. So the proven category decks are ones that I would consider to be excellent. Hey Ninja, good luck on your job apps. I consider Lightning Bolt to be too good for Standard or Historic. I think questions like that fail to address the fundamental idea that cards can be unhealthy for formats without being too good. What cards you print into a given format? Ah, that's a great draw. Bonecrusher is also great. We need a Teferi or a Search for Azcanta or another Inspired Ultimatum to really pull ahead here, but we're definitely ahead at the moment. Game is not just over, but heading in that direction. Getting to play 27 lands with 4 Triomes is just so great. So we'll hit them for 4. We'll bounce Bonecrusher Giant. We'll stomp the elf. We'll replay Bonecrusher Giant. It's garbage time. You don't have to go home, but you can't play here. I tapped off my red mana. Do 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 do.
I've got it.
Did I say thanks to Zerblin? If I did, thanks again. If I didn't, thanks for a first time. Welcome back. Yeah, this is a point where if I was playing this match in paper, I would be drawing my cards face up on the table, just letting my opponent know they were allowed to concede at any time. This is an amusing tweet. Emma saying you should go follow this person. Funny quote tweets and other good content. Great follow. I would bet good money that Emma tweeted this the way they did because they're in Rivals, I believe. Because of a possible disparagement clause. Because of this post right here. Emma doesn't want to link to it directly. Smart. Stinkins, thanks for the 13 months. Welcome back. If you didn't read this post, we've actually talked, and on stream before I've actually said the words, you know, Wizards is often on the right side of these things, it feels like. And this write-up by Zbeg here kind of paints a very different picture that I wasn't aware of. Yeah, it feels like Emma's working to avoid a possible minus 500. No, that's speculation. Maybe that's not Emma's reason to tweet that, but, you know. At any rate, I'll link Zbeg's status directly because Wizards don't do crap for me, and they deserve to be blasted. Please explain the minus 500 meme. There is literally a clause in the MPL and Rivals contract that says if a Rivals or MPL player disparages Wizards of the Coast and it's found to be unintentional, they will get fined $500 in future prize earnings. If they disparage Wizards of the Coast and it's found to be intentional, their contract gets terminated. Hey, Psychonaut, I must have missed it. Are on-screen notifications not working? I thought I saw one pop up. Thanks for the 14 months. And Stinkins. I thought I caught those. Is Streamlabs down? %, would never sign that contract. I mean, like, they're getting paid a pretty okay amount of money. Does that mean, yeah, so the joke is people put the minus 500s in chat whenever I say something that they feel Wizards would fine me $500 for saying. Alright, Jeskai Control. That set was great. That was easily the best set of Magic the Gathering that I have played in probably the last week. We've been doing a lot of getting beat up on this channel in the last week, chat. I am definitely going to add this one up to my website. We played it, iterations of this a couple of times in the past, and it was reasonable, and it was reasonable again today. What would I change after playing that set? You know, honestly, I feel like you could play this card for card and have it be pretty reasonable. I feel like my big takeaway from those sets is that Shark Typhoon felt like it was less good today than it was for me in matches past. At the same time, though, it also, like, wasn't bad. It wasn't busted, but it wasn't bad. It's possible we want another Ultimatum. I don't know. Like, Ultimatum's the type of card where, like, when you have the mana to cast it, it's literally the only card you want to draw, so it's easy to be biased and think that you need it. Yeah, we talked about Graveyard Hate, but honestly, like, we played through the Breach deck without the Graveyard Hate, and it felt like we had reasonable tools even without it, so I would need to play more matches to know if we really need Graveyard Hate, or if the type of interaction and stuff that you have is good. I'd like to address a comment in chat. I always thought she'd something like Clarence not lose to Girl Winota. I guess you have enough spot removal to survive to Shatter. Yeah, and that's exactly right. I actually think that Winota being the premier aggressive deck in this format actually makes sweepers much worse, because not only of Adanto Vanguard, but Winota's bigger than the sweepers, and you just need to keep the board clear and specifically kill Winota, which makes the stock in spot removal better. So things like Justice Strike and Redcap Melee, I think, are very good. Settle the Wreckage is not good. The good aggressive decks in this format play Gruul Spellbreaker, and you're just going to get caught with your pants down too often with Settle the Wreckage. Yeah, I think I like this mix. With 3 Search for Azcanta, 2 Inspired Ultimatum is probably fine. I think I'm going to put this card for card up on the site. Feel free to tweak and tune, obviously, any deck list you grab from up there, but I felt like we had a pretty good balance overall. One change I might make, we said Shark Typhoon was feeling a little medium. Turning the 3rd Shark Typhoon into a 4th Bonecrusher Giant, I think, is a change that might be okay to make. Bonecrusher Giant was really impressive there. Bonecrusher Giant is even good in other control matchups because it can stop Planeswalkers out of existence, and this is a card that can kill them early. This is honestly one of your best cards in the aggressive matchups, because like stomp something on 2, play a 4/3 on 3 tends to gum up the board a lot. Really love being able to play 27 lands with 4 Triomes and a couple of castles and not feel like you're flooding out super all the time. So if you're looking for a control deck in Historic, I think this would definitely be one I'd recommend kicking the tires on. The Winota matchup felt very, very good. Yeah. All right, what are we doing? I'm going to hit a quick ad roll while everything's set up and flipped over for the next one. When we get back, we are going to play one of the decks that's already up on my website, which is some Naya Feather here. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Thanks for hanging out today, folks. Don't go anywhere.